Big. Tom Hanks, 1988. I know, 35 years ago. So Mrs. Pops and I did a rewatch of this. And it was still a fun, sweet experience. But does the one creepy element age well? Because the whole plot and everything kind of pivots on all of that happening. So it kind of feels even more awkward and uncomfortable. Like I don't want to read messaging into it, but I kind of feel like it's like, is it a message of well, let's just do this. Let's just walk through the trailer a little bit because the trailer actually spoils the whole movie. I don't know if anybody really noticed this before. So the entire premise of the movie is it's a little boy, just like many of us, who wish that they were taller, they were big. He's got a crush. The girl likes an older, more masculine boy. He's already at puberty. He's too short to ride the cool ride. And he goes across and he finds this machine where it's like a game and it's like a make a wish type thing. And it says, I wish to be big, right? And he drops his coin in, and when he wakes up, guess what? Little boy is no longer the little boy. Again, all these scenes are ruined. The entire sequence is ruined. He's turned into Tom Hanks. I, I have to be honest. When I was prepping just briefly for this, I'm like, well, I guess I don't have to do a whole lot of prep. The trailer literally ruins almost every scene or every key moment. So, yeah. But yeah, 35 years later, all of this played pretty well. All of this was fine. Enjoyed the journey, still enjoyed, the interactions with his friend and going to get a job and playing with toys. And these sequences are great, by the way. Like this whole thing with laser tag, it's first off, the memories of being able to go to the FAO Schwartz because they were around even when my kids were little. So even also, I want to say 10 years, but definitely almost 10 years after this came out, where there's like FAO Schwartz and they have the giant teddy bears. I mean, they had a Star Wars toy with the Power of Force toys, like a whole wall. So the FAO Schwartz stuff. And then of course seeing like this, like the laser tag and some of this kind of stuff, it was just great. Right. And then you get into this element. You get into the sex jokes, the innocence of the child. John Lovitz is freaking great, by the way. He plays the same kind of weird, creepy guy. And so that's kind of what happens here. They spoil that joke, but then you have her. So she is, kind of your love interest in all of this. And again, I'm not trying to bag on Elizabeth Perkins or even, you know, Penny Marshall or, Gary Ross, who wrote the script with Spielberg's wife, Anne. Um, yeah, it's the idea of like the whole child thing. Like I don't know that he would go through, I don't know. It's like, it has child innocence all through this until you get to this sequence about spending the night, right? And it's played for the gag about who's going to be on top because he has bunk beds. And but the problem is once you have that moment, then he becomes serious about being an adult. He becomes serious about a job. He doesn't have any of his sort of like child wares about him anymore. It's all been shed away. And I'm not sure what is supposed to be our takeaway in that because I feel like this didn't age well. Like in its time, it was more about just the journey of being careful, kind of like what you be careful what you ask for, you might just get it, right? So you have sort of like the Shazam story of the little boy who wants the magic to grow and say Shazam, and now he's a big tough superhero and he's all of that. And here you have the same thing. You have the Zoltar, the fortune machine, right? I'm gonna be big. And then when you're big, you get, the girl and she's a woman and she's cute and pretty and whatever, and all of that kind of stuff. Right. Um, but I think for me, I felt like it didn't it didn't feel innocent anymore. It didn't feel um about that journey. It felt odd because of how things transpire after, right? And again, this guy plays it fine, obviously from him from Home Alone and such. But it's like just the loss of innocence and stuff feels I don't know. My wife and I were just really hung up on this element of this movie, and she said, "I just feel like it didn't age as well, just not as enjoyable as we kind of thought it would be." And again, it's still a really great film. We just had a good time with it for the most part, other than this element. I would say I really enjoyed, seeing the idea of the child bringing bringing that out of us, right? I think this is what I get out of my grandkids, right? I just love hanging out with them because it just helps you be a kid again, right? Helps you just be that person that you are at your most carefree, free from worries. Your imagination runs wild. You have so much more. You have so much less inhibitions, and you're almost more fearless. Things like that. It's just all so wonderful, and the film does a great job of capturing all of that. So, anyway, 35 years ago, big Penny Marshall. Wow, it took me back. Thought I would share. I hadn't nearly done the throwback Tuesdays as well, or as often. So I wanted to get this in the books. Got a couple more coming your way. Uh, Thanks for watching. What are your thoughts? Have you watched Big recently? How does it hold up for you? It's still a very solid movie. We'll watch it again. We own it. So it's not like we want to watch it again or anything like that. But I would say that I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought we would. That's all I'll say about that. So anyway, I am Pops. Take care, everybody.